Kick 104. Hello there. This is Spike at the mic playing music from 1985 here as we kind of sit back and salute you, the people, you, right there, sitting there, the alumni class of 1965. As you gather there for your 20-year reunion, you look nice. Yes, some of you are overweight. Some of you have lost your hair, haven't you? And it's good to see the old faces again. It's good to see everybody around. I am one of those former KSTT good guys. You remember KSTT when you grew up in the 60s? KSTT was the sound of the one-ways in the 60s. A lot of great memories. A lot of, well, they called them good guys. And they were. I, too, grew up in the Quad City area here. So I grew up and was weaned on the KSTT good guys. And I just thought it would really be kind of neat. It'd be special if, you know, as we all are gathered here and we have our memories of 20 years ago, to kind of conjure it up, if it was possible, for the memories of what it sounded like on the radio, for the fun times, for some of the music, for some of the people who used to work at KSCT. Wouldn't that be neat?
Round, round, get around, I get around, yeah, get around, round, round, I get around, I get around, round, round.
Can it really be 20 years? Oh, man, we're going to be hearing that a lot tonight. Hi, this is Bobby Rich, former KSTT good guy. Back, actually, you guys were already out of school and out messing around by the time I hit Davenport. I got to the Quad Cities in 1968, and between 68 and 1972, I was on KSTT radio every afternoon from, around 2 to 6 o'clock or so, and now I'm in San Diego, California. I've done quite a bit since leaving Davenport, Los Angeles, San Diego, New York, Philadelphia, and all parts east, west, south, north, but I'm happily at home in San Diego, in the same town and in the same building with Clark Anthony, who we're also hearing from this evening. But I'm really glad to be asked to say hi to the 20-year grads. I just celebrated my own 20th high school reunion a couple of years ago, only about 2 years ago, to be truthful with you. And this is a really good night for a lot of fun and a lot of friends. I got to tell you one thing that's interesting about a 20th reunion. So it's really good because in the 10-year reunion, a lot of you will remember this, people are still a little bit on the nervous side. Sometimes the pretensions still come out a little bit. You want to impress everybody. If you were hot stuff when you were in high school, you want them to think you're still hot stuff, right? And if you weren't such hot stuff when you were in high school, you want them to think that now you are hot stuff. The neat thing about tonight is that everybody can be a real human being and be themselves. You know, I think maybe we finally grew up a little bit. Not too much, I hope. Have a great time. It's a wonderful time for some great memories. And some of those people you thought were nerds, guess what? They're still nerds. Happy 65. Happy 20th anniversary, Alderman. This is Bobby Rich in San Diego.
When I grow up to be a man, will I dig the same things that turned me on as a kid?
Hi there, Larry Cooper here. Well, 20 years, and it seems like a long time ago, frankly. Those years I was doing my best to get it together for the instant flashbacks, talking to many of you on the phone, and putting the pieces together for our nightly Cooper Countdown, playing the records, doing all that at the same time. 61 through 65 were certainly good years for me. Getting married, buying a hot new fastback Mustang, and meeting lots of you folks down at the Old Call Ballroom for those go-go nights and the other special events for which the management expected us to make fools of ourselves. But it was a lot of fun. Why, in those days, we even got to talk a little between the records. Times change. Yes, sir. Here I am, 20 years later, in my office at CBS News in New York. After leaving KSTT, I spent a few months in Indianapolis, then headed for San Francisco, and 10 years with an all-new station there, KCBS. 4 years ago, I was recruited to put together the format for the news on a new CBS radio network called Radio Radio. In fact, one of the old KSTT competitors, WHBF-FM, now carries the newscast we produce here in New York. So here I am, news director, executive producer. 20 years makes a big difference. The news business can be a lot of fun, but I tell you, it'll never be like the days I spent with the rest of the old KSTT good guys. A lot of things change in 20 years. Waistlines, hairlines, marriages. But one thing remains true. You always remember the good times. And your class was part of the rich vintage years of KSTT. It was terrific spending them with you. I hope we can share some more memories for your 30-year reunion. Thanks for remembering. It brought a smile to my heart. Now my intercom is buzzing, so maybe I'll see you in 10 years.
Hey, little Cobra, don't you know you're gonna shut 'em down? I took
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Lee Shannon. I was one of the good guys at KSTT on 3 different occasions, 1961 through 1968. I did the morning show there. Some of you may remember I was also on WQUA in Moline. However, at that time, I used the air name Stan Cooper. That was back in 1960. I have some great memories of the Quad Cities. I used to drive stock cars out at the Mississippi Valley Fairgrounds and over at East Moline. That began back in 1964. Usually drove a red and white 55 Ford. Some of you may remember it had a 1170 on the side of it. Also had a red and white 56 Chevy one year. Bill Vansel lettered my first car in the basement of KSTT a couple of nights just before the season got started in 64. Some of the records I remember playing when I was a good guy: Sam Cooke's Chain Gang and Twistin' the Night Away. You remember the Cascades, Rhythm of the Rain? The Beach Boys had so many. Surfin' Girl and Little Deuce Coupe and I Get Around. Some I remember. Of course, the Beatles with all their great hits like A Hard Day's Night, I Want to Hold Your Hand, She Loves Me, Love Me Do. And, of course, Booker T and the MGs with Green Onions. Remember that back about the start of your sophomore year when you were all about the smartest know-it-all people on this planet. And speaking of remembering, remember how back then Coke was something you drank at the draft house or at the call? Of course, lots of things have changed since then, even Coca-Cola. We've all changed, too, the guys particularly. Many of you, I'm told, have added some around the middle and lost some up there on top. But the girls, they're still just as pretty, some even prettier. You know, of course, that the good Lord never made an ugly woman. I've seen a couple, though, who just barely made it. I think they went to school across the river. I'm sure they didn't wear the Pioneers green and white. Ed asked me if I would fill you in on what I've been doing since leaving KSTT in early '68. I got back into radio full-time at WQIK in Jacksonville in 1981. I have worked short stints at programming country-formatted stations in San Diego and in Shreveport. And I returned to Jacksonville in August of last year, and I'm very happy here. I've been fortunate enough to have been named one of the top 5 DJs by the Country Music Association on 6, maybe 7 occasions. I won the award in 1980 and again in 1984, the only person to ever win more than once, and I'm just tickled that my peers saw fit to vote me in there. I thank you for letting me be a part of your 20-year class reunion. I hope you have a great time, and may you enjoy many more. As we say in radio when we sign off, I'm Lee Shannon, WQIK, Jacksonville, Florida.